Hi, Davi here, and today we have a new episode in the art session series. And today we're going to be doing a voiceover of this sketch. I think it's out of 6 sketches. We're at number 4. We're at the 4th sketch. So this full real-time video is about 7 minutes and 30 seconds or 31 seconds. So it's pretty cool. It didn't take long. It's still under 10 minutes, between, over 5 minutes and under 10 minutes. So it's a good solid sort of sketch, but I think I mentioned this briefly in the end of the last video. This was also a sketch focused on the grayscale. I wasn't focusing on adding any kind of color. I really did try to draw like the arm and make sure I show off a little bit of the anatomy, but my anatomy game was just not showing up. Cope. It could be I'm just tired, or maybe I just need to study. It probably is more of the latter, but in this case, even though it's grayscale, I am using a different brush as well. It's a flat brush that's in pen tilt, meaning it's sensitive, or it follows the tilt of my pen, which I think is very cool, because I think you will see this a lot more in this episode, sure, but in the following last 2 episodes. Even if you have like one brush, let's say a flat brush, but it's on pen tilt, I think it can make your work or your paintings look a bit more diverse, because seeing that flat brush in multiple angles, I think it naturally just looks diverse. Like, it doesn't look like it comes from like one stroke or one side or one direction. So I think having some kind of flat brush, just try using a circle brush, like a basic round brush, and simply change like the shape of it. Decrease like the thickness of it to try like 30%, 40% of the original like circle round shape, and you basically have a round brush. And when you have that and you put that in a pen tilt kind of mode, where it follows the tilt of your pen, I think it just makes, even though it's just one brush, it adds so much diversity, because you get to be sort of a bit more intentional with how the strokes can or will end up, because it's based on the pen tilt thing. You could also try using, I think in Photoshop it's called initial direction. Super fun to use, and yeah. So I think I was trying to draw something. I mean, the arm is, look at the bicep, it's so freaking big, or huge. It doesn't even make sense. Again, this is one of those sketches where it's I feel like it's more of a miss than a hit. But I gotta commit. So I think if I haven't hit like 5 minutes yet, then I'm not gonna quit yet. I'm gonna keep pushing until I make something that's somewhat decent. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be done. Based knowledge. Oh, by the way, just to be honest with you guys, I haven't slept yet, and the reason why is I tried fixing, or when I recorded the audio or the voiceovers for all of these videos per video, I did it, but I realized that the audio was fucked up. I made a mistake with like how it was recorded. It's on me, but the point is I tried fixing it, which took some time, because I had to experiment and find ways to make it work. But the thing is, no matter what I tried, it just didn't work. So I had to record it from the top. So essentially, I'm recording this I'm in a state where I haven't slept yet, essentially. So my eyes are kind of drooping, but this video has to be done. Like, there's no choice. I must get it out there eventually, right? And that's kind of the thing when you do content creation and you're doing art at the same time. Learning to balance that, I think it is its own skill, because there are people who are so freaking like talented. Like, you can see once you find their work online, and when you check their X page or Twitter page or their ArtStation, they have some nice freaking work, or Instagram, nice freaking work, like way better, like objectively speaking, than you as an artist, as a creative person as well. But quite a few of these types, they don't really know how to, like, their following count is so tiny, because number one, they don't post consistently, and they only post their art And sometimes that can be, it's not bad to do it, but if you have a voice and such, why not use it? Because people want to hear a voice. For example, for me, generally speaking, I don't make super finished stuff. Most of what I do is like sketches and doodles. But people are still somewhat interested, and I think it's not so much about the art, but the finished thing, but it's about the art process, like what goes behind, like what's the thinking behind these types of things. People want to hear your thoughts, your ideas, your perspectives, and I think it's a missing thing with a lot of artists. And by the way, you don't have to show your face. Because there's some advice out there that, oh, you have to show your face. Well, that makes sense if you don't do art, right? But if art is like your main thing, then the art is enough as an image, as a video to be seen, and you can just simply use your voice. There are plenty of artists out there who have a decent following, who do content creation, who have never shown their face, and yet they're still successful. So yeah. I think right now the sketch is looking a little bit clean, even though it's still kind of random. I think because like when you just clean up the silhouette, basically the edges of your like drawing, it can make it look more organized, even if everything inside is kind of chaotic. By just making sure your overall silhouette is like tight and clean and sharp, it changes something. Like it feels more legit if you do it that way, right? And everything on the inside can be a bit abstract, a bit chaotic, a bit impressionistic. It's not gonna be as bad, because if you had like the insides abstract but the edges or the silhouette sort of corners and edges abstract as well, like there's no limiting thing. Like if you want to be chaotic, you want to find a way to control the chaos, and you do that by making a nice, clean, sharp, non-vague, unambiguous, am I saying it unambiguous? Oh god. Silhouette, right? Make the silhouette tight and clear. Even if it's boring or it's not that exciting of a shape or of a silhouette, if it's just clean, it can do way better than a super abstract kind of thing where you can't really tell what that thing is. And yeah, so let me just check my time. 7 minutes. It's not too bad. Oh, this brush has a bit of a point to it. You could have a flat brush where the tip is just the same size all throughout. That's fine. But when you do that, sometimes you have to change the brush size constantly, which can be annoying. So sometimes I think it's good to just add like a point to your pen or to your brush that's sensitive to the amount of pressure you add to your pen or stylus. So you can make big strokes very quickly and really small, tight strokes for detailing and such. You can an artist I would recommend who draws with like a flat brush, would be Feng Zhu, perhaps Shinku Kim, maybe there's a couple more, but these are the only artists. Maybe Mike Azivado something, Mike something. Yeah, flat brush. I think they use a flat brush. Who knows? But yeah, let me just drink some coffee because I'm so freaking thirsty. Oh yeah, when I paint, like I make a new layer for each new sketch. So I'm not adding new layers. I do keep it simple. I keep the process very simple. So 5 to 7 minutes, basically under 10 minutes, one brush only. The colors are either monochrome, analogous, or just complementary. That's usually the 3 types of setups I use for my coloring. And yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Oh, by the way, if you see that thing in my hand, in my wrist, that's not a glove. It's a wrist brace. Like my hand hasn't fully healed, but it's definitely better. Hopefully, as you can see in the video, I can like move my stylus quite fast, and so it's not bothering me to the point where I can't work. Although a week ago, I would say this thing was just not. It wasn't good, and it's not a good feeling to have when your wrist or your hand, especially your drawing, your main hand is dysfunctional or just like super injured or weak. It's not a good feeling, especially when you do art. It's not gonna feel good, but the best you can do is just rest, and I tried, and now it's better. It's not fully healed, but I'm comfortable with it, and I do recommend getting a wrist brace if you have like a carpal tunnel something issue. Am I saying it right? Some kind of wrist issue, whether muscle pain, muscle strain, gout. You want to have something to stabilize your wrist. Even when I'm placing my hand on my stylus, or sorry, on my pen display, even though it's not the intention, I can glide with it very easily. So it's another sort of unspoken, not so obvious advantage to having like a wrist brace, or this kind of wrist brace. Anyway, I forgot the brand name, but it's not that expensive. It's like $10 or something, or $6. I don't know. But yeah, so you know what you could do with these like grayscale sketches. Even if you feel like it's boring, just add like an RGB shift effect, and I think it can make even your grayscale paintings look cool. I think Anthony Jones has done a couple of those where it's all in grayscale, but he'll add like a little bit of an RGB shift effect, or if not, you can add like a noise texture to it to sort of add a bit of teeth to your work, or you can just sharpen it as well to make it more like, you know, sharp or gritty. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna leave the art session here. Thanks for watching, and you know what, the shoulder kind of looks like a heart, but in the bottom part it looks more like a pussy. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Right? It kind of, well, if not a pussy, it kind of looks like a butt too. Right? Like the butt is here, the cheek one over here, cheek two. And then we have the legs here. It can also be like a heart, or it can also be like a fat puss, you know. Anyway, we'll end the art, not art review. We'll end the art session here. You know what? The bicep looks like a boob. I need to work on my anatomy. But then again, I was kind of, maybe I was tired. I'm not sure, but it happened. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.